Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. Today I have with me Carin Laniak. She's president of Excelsus Print Solutions. Carin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
To get us started, can you tell us a little bit about Excelsus Print Solutions?
Excelsus Print Solutions, we are a wide format digital printing company. We were founded in 2005, so this year will be our 20th anniversary. We're really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We are 100% digital. We have no conventional presses. And we got our start spinning off from Flower City Printing, a commercial packaging printer. In the day when digital was just starting to come on the scene and Flower City had wanted to get into it. My husband, who had founded Excelsus, worked at Flower City with us, and they charged him with going to find out everything he could. And once he did, they agreed to separate the two companies and they would be our customer. And so that's how we were born. We were very heavy in our beginning days of retail signage and packaging, so smaller run things. And over the years, we still primarily do signage, but we've morphed more into wall graphics, window, wall, door, anywhere, ceiling, anywhere that can accommodate a graphic, we can put it on there.
You figured out how to do it no matter what it is.
Yeah, that's the fun of it, is really when a client comes to us and has something unique or wants to do something unique, and our expertise coming from traditional print, understanding the process, converting it to digital, to then all the different materials that digital printing encompasses, and the 3D, 2D, just it makes it a lot more fun. It's more than just ink on paper at that time.
Definitely. I have to ask, what's the weirdest thing you've ever printed on?
I think burlap right now is coming to mind.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
So what were they using the burlap for? I have to ask.
They used it as they printed their logo on the burlap and then took the burlap and affixed it to a thicker board. So just as I don't even want to call it an art piece, but just as a logo for their company.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Burlap.
So that right to mind, that one comes to mind.
It's definitely not something you do every day.
No. And that's why for us, a lot of what we do is custom, because we are constantly being, either we're getting creative on our own saying, hey, I wonder if we can print on this material, or a customer has something we've printed on a antique barn door, direct to the barn door. I guess that's a unique one. But
that is too.
Yeah, that is very unique, and that's a hanging in a restaurant. So most of those things are more, they're not one and done, throw them away. They are used for longevity. They have them up.
So for you, how did you get started? You said that the company was spun out of Flower City Printing, but how about you? How did you get started in this industry?
So my father was one of the main founders of Flower City Printing here in Rochester, New York in 1970. He started that. And so throughout my life, Dad was always working in printing. And when we were home from school, we were peeling film in the basement for recycling. We were working in the bindery, collating. I spent many hours feeding machines, things like stitchers and folders, catching up the folders. And then once I graduated high school, I had thought, maybe I'll go to RIT for a degree in printing. So I started down that route, and I thought, this is hard. I'm going to work and go to school. I was living on my own that time, and I thought, why do I need to go to school? I'll just work in the business. And so fast forward, I wish I got the degree, but I did stay in the business, and I worked from 1987 until 2015. I was there.
So you had no excuse but to enter the business.
Yeah, and I wanted to. Different. I guess I'll just do the family business, because my dad would have supported me going to college and doing something else. But when I look back at it, I liked all the different things you could do. So I worked in the bindery, or I worked in the office. I worked in data entry. I worked in billing. I had all these different roles that I did. And so there's constant learning. And so I enjoyed that. And I decided that was going to be my career. So I aspired to get to the top level. I used to call it sitting at the table with the guys, the men. The founders are all men, and I would see them in the conference room every week having their staff meeting. And I was, someday I want to be at that table. I want to be part of what's next and what's going on. And I made it. So
Now you're sitting at the head of the table.
now I'm sitting at the head of the table. Yeah.
Not only did you make it into the room, but you are the one that's leading that meeting. So
Yeah. Yes. 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 I can.
But that's some of the drive that you have as you were going and growing up. You can
Right.
see, I want to be there. You knew what your next step was. You knew where your path was.
Well, the way Flower City's structured, because there was 3 partners and they had family in the beginning that were all working there. So what they did was the family worked for another partner. So I didn't work directly for my dad. I worked for another partner. So there wasn't that weirdness of that. So it's really on your merit. I had somebody else I was accountable to, and I always trusted that they would do the right thing by me, meaning when I was ready to move up, I would show that I was ready for more responsibility. First management position, they dragged me into it because I was like, no, they're like, we want you to lead the bindery. And I was like, the bindery, it had over 40 employees, 3 shifts. People spoke different languages. Yeah, and I did it, and I loved it. I loved taking chaos and making it order. So I could see all these things that needed to be done, organize them, create a plan, and execute. And that was my first. So I didn't want to do it. And they said, no, we think you can. We think you can. And so that was it. That started my management career there.
Now, for you, you said you always wanted to be in printing, but was there a particular point in time that was either your aha moment that this really is for me, or that was a turning point for you within your career?
I think, yeah, I can point to back, it was early, I think 2000s, Flower City had bought a printing company in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't found an on-site supervisor or manager yet. So they were rotating some of our managers to go down there for a week or 2 weeks at a time. And my name got brought up. Do it. Well, what about Carin? I'd already proven that I could manage the bindery. And I was, this is real. This is real. This is a real deal. I'm going to go to another state. I'm going to lead people I've never met before. And they believe in me and I can do it. And I got excited at that. I got excited at the opportunity to travel and be a professional woman. And at that, I always felt, oh, you didn't go to college, so you're not really a real professional because you don't have that degree. Nobody really made me feel that way. I put that on myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt, wow, like I can do this. And I didn't have a degree. And okay. So yeah, so that was like the moment that I thought, I want this, I can do this. And I wanted to continue to grow in that.
Were there things that helped you to get that confidence in yourself that you could do that? Was it just your experience in leading the bindery? Was it other experiences? Were there other mentors that helped to reinforce that feeling of confidence within you?
I think reflecting on it, I think it was the support system at Flower City. Although it wasn't a family business, there were multiple families in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I had guys that and women that were older than me that I looked up to because I had known them my whole life. And they showed that they had confidence in me and could do this. Yeah, of course you can manage them. And yeah, you're great at that. And they helped me where I didn't feel like sometimes I felt really like me. They want me to do this, or I don't know if I can. Yeah, you can, Carin. Yeah, you can. And those men or those women, they didn't treat me like Bill's daughter. They treated me like Carin, who could sometimes have been a brat of an owner. On occasion, I was young, to say, hey, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
But having those people that I looked up to and watched their career move through the ranks from a press guy up to a manager or leader. For me, it was having the growth that I saw happening with other people and then knowing them for so long and then their trust and confidence in me.
So was all your learning then really hands-on,
Yes.
more or less?
Yeah. The only professional development that I did outside of Flower City was at the time they were the NAPL, National Association of Leadership. They had a 4-track learning program. It was like going to college, like high level college. There was strategic planning, there was sales, there was production planning, I think it was, and then financial. And so if you completed all of them, you got a special certificate. And so I had done 3 out of the 4. I learned a lot there. I went out of Flower City, out of my knowing, and into this classroom setting with other professionals from across the country who were in similar situations, whether they were family members of an owner or not, had been in the company. What I loved about being around those other people was that you could see that the printing industry, they have people that they nurture and grow to the highest level of what the person wants to go to. So I saw that as, you're like me, I'm like you, whether you were a man or a woman. I didn't really see it like that at that time. It was just similar experiences working for a company for a long time and just growing in that company.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if there's really any kind of program like that right now.
I loved being part of it. I was so proud to be able to go. And it was an expense to the company, but the company had sent their other senior level managers to go. So I had seen them go through it, and they got their blanks on the wall and the networking. And sometimes you go to those things thinking, God, we got to fix this problem over at this company. We are just so messed up. We're so screwed up. This makes no sense why we do this. And then you go and you hear other people's problems. And you're like, oh, we figured that out a long time ago. So it was like getting outside and seeing, okay, what you think is a big problem, other people have solved, and what they're struggling with, you've already solved. All the value in that, helping each other.
How important is that peer-to-peer networking for you?
For me, it's really important. And for a long time at Flower City, I was the chosen, like the face of Flower City. So I was the one that went to NAPL. I went to the Paperboard Packaging Council, PPC, great organization. I would go to those conferences twice a year whenever they had them and network. And I've met so many great people. And even going to those things and they say, oh, you're from Flower City. Wow. Oh my gosh, I know them. And they've been around forever. When I left Flower City and I got into the digital in 2016, I really couldn't be part of the PPC anymore because we really weren't in packaging. I could, but it really didn't make sense. And I was really disappointed to not be part of that organization anymore because of the training and the networking and the speakers. The last one I went to, they had Benny Landa come to, and I was just in awe, just listening to him and his vision and his.
He's a phenomenal speaker.
Oh my God, just captivated. And even from walking in, who's this guy that's walking in? I miss that. I try to go to the ones. I'm not a golfer. A lot of the print stuff out my way is the golfing things. And I'm like, no, that's not my thing. But I do miss those grand events where you get to see your printing peers from all across the country and sometimes different countries as well. And I know those things are expensive and companies cut back and all that, but I'm hoping it's going to swing back. Everything goes one way and then it comes back and meets somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'd love to be a part of those organizations again in a bigger way.
And like you said, there's a value there. There's a value for you in giving back to the organizations, to the industry. So that way also your knowledge that you've accumulated in the years that you've been in printing doesn't just stay with you. You can share that. Because I think that's one of the biggest worries that I see across the board is how much of that institutional knowledge we're losing on a yearly basis.
Agreed. Yeah. And that's why I never thought I had to go outside of Flower City to learn, because there was so much in there, so many different people and departments. But then taking it to that next level and being the person that's the face of your company, or being that person that's going out and bringing back the knowledge. What is Andrew talking about for the state of the industry? We're making these notes, and some of it's going over my head. But coming back and meeting with everybody. I remember my dad and his partners going to Drupa, getting room and coming back and showing all these things that they saw. I'm really grateful to have had those experiences at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And moving down, talking about women in the printing industry. So for you, you've had a number of good mentors. You've been with a lot of peers. But because the industry tends to lean a little bit more toward the male side, most companies tend to be a little bit more male dominated than women dominated, although there's exceptions in every spot. But for women, sometimes I feel that they have some unique challenges just because of maybe traditional thoughts about who's raising children or traditional roles that have been changing. What opportunities do women have within printing? What challenges do they have? Should they view them as challenges even?
I'm watching my daughter, who is older than I was when I had two little kids,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just out of her mind. Crazy. How am I working? And I got to bring kids to daycare, and this is crazy, and this is hard. And I'm like, yes, it is. Accept it because it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, but you'll get through it. These questions are really great because looking back, I didn't feel like I was doing something that other people weren't doing. We all worked and we all took our kids to daycare and we all paid daycare crazy fees and we all had to leave to bring this one to the doctor or go pick that one up at school. I think more men are stepping up to the plate as far as being the dad, like I'll go pick him up from school or I'll work the half day or whatever. I still think it falls a lot on the women and we have that guilt like, oh, I can't leave work. I got so much to do. And what are they going to think of me if I leave? The only thing that I can really think of that would help or alleviate some of that pressure that women typically put on themselves to carry on their back is like, your family, you aren't just Carin that works at Excelsus. I'm Carin, the mom, the grandma, the wife, the sister, the daughter, and understanding that for me to be here, that I'm all of that. And there's going to be moments where I need to go grab my granddaughter and have that flexibility and understanding that I can't believe that I'm going to have an employee that's here 8 hours a day and that's all they're going to be talking about. And that's all they're going to be doing. That's not the case, right?
Not realistic.
Not realistic. So we take little breaks in the morning. How you doing? I had a sick one. I got to run to the doctor today. And so for a business owner, understanding that people's lives aren't just their 8 hours they're here. And even when they're here, they've got pressure. But as the employee, taking your job seriously to the point of, okay, they're offering me flexibility to take the child to the doctor or go care for an elderly parent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my laptop home and I'm going to finish out what I got to do. I think that it's both ways. So the flexibility that a business offers, you also have to be flexible, I think, in your understanding. Depends on the kind of job you have, right? If you shut off a machine and you go home, I can't do my work from home.
Yeah, it's not like you can strap it to the top of the car and take it home with you.
I'm going home, but the way you could help there is to offer if other people have to take shorter days, I can cover their shift or what can I do to help? And I just feel like understanding and accepting the fact that women and a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves. I'm not good enough, or I should be the parent in the classroom with my kid. I can't do that. I have a job. And I just think that there has to be an agreement or a understanding on both sides, the employee side and the employer side, that I'll give you as much as I can when I'm here, but there's going to be moments where I can't. And when I keep my commitment to the company is I'm going to do what I can to get my work done or partner up or whatever that is. Okay, I understand you have to leave, but the work still has to get done, right? The business has to keep going. And so how can we keep the business going while we support the person, the employee, the family?
Do they come in early? Do they
can
stay
come in
late on
early.
certain days?
Saturday, yeah. Whatever that is. And maybe the company says, no, it's okay. Oh, we got you. It's fine. But at least you have that offering of, I see it as a two-way street. I see that flexibility, although doesn't equate to dollars necessarily, flexibility is a perk that I'm proud of Excelsus and even Flower City when I was there. To have that flexibility to take care of your family is important.
And I think that's something that's changed over the last, I would say, decade or so. Because a lot of times you would have women, they would get to that point in their career. They've been building it, they've been growing it, and they're like, now I'm getting to that age where I need to make that decision. Do I have kids? Do I not have kids? Do I have that family? Do I not? And for some, they've taken the route because they wanted to have their family and they just thought, that means I can't have a job then. Right. They think it's an or. You could do one or the other, not both things. And I think that thinking has changed because, like you said, we put it on ourselves that we want to still have a career. We want to still be able to build and grow professionally.
Right.
but we also still want to have a family. We are not just one thing, as you said.
So with my kids, I said, I can be this mom that you think you want me to be, that's there all the time and working just enough hours at a job that pays me just enough to get us by, or we can maybe sacrifice a little. I have to work a little bit more hours and I'll have support for you. Family was amazing as far as taking the kids. If they were sick, I would drop them off. Oh, this one's sick, I got to go to work. If you don't have that outside support, that's really hard too. Having a support system outside of work that could help you as a parent, single parent, or even a two-parent family. But I recognize that people don't have that. And what do you do with that?
Yeah, because you're a single parent, you need that support. But even sometimes with a two-parent family, you still need it because both parents are working.
Both parents are working, right?
Just
And
because
so,
of the economic situation that a lot of people are in these days with the cost of inflation and everything else that's going on, both parents have to work.
both parents have to work. And I told my kids, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be Carin, your mom, if I didn't follow my dream of sitting at that table and then leading that table.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that there was some sacrifice on my part with my kids. But ask anybody, everybody has their regrets. Oh, I wish I wouldn't have done this different. I wish I'd done that different. But when I look back at it, I can't say that I would have done anything different. I would have still sacrificed. I still would have traveled. I still would have done those things because the life that I was able to give them because of those things was worth it.
It's how do you balance that guilt of not being able to be there for every single thing versus the pride in what you're doing and what you're able to provide?
I think how I handled that the best that I could.
Nothing's perfect.
To set clear understanding of what I'm able to do. I work during the day. So if you need me, if you want me to be as a room parent or whatever, I will do 5 events a year. I will do 2 events a year. You get to pick which ones you want me at. Which ones are really important to you that am I the pumpkin picking one? Okay, I'll go to the pumpkin picking one. But understand that I can't. And I think in my situation, because I was a single parent, my kids understood that I was only one person. But I did what I could do. I worked hard before work and after work at getting my job done, taking my job seriously. At the same time, if my son was sick when he was little, I'd bring him in. He'd be sitting under my desk with his Game Boy and a pillow. And I'd still work. And that was normal. Again, I just keep going back to the best thing that can happen for both sides is that flexibility. And I don't mean flexibility where I can get to work from home whenever I want. We're very collaborative workspace. We all kind of work in the same area. And we help each other all the time. Oh, I have a customer that wants to print on this material. Oh, we ran on that. And oh, it didn't work so well over on that press. And so if you're working from home, you're not able to contribute to the collaboration. And that's okay for some types of jobs. But for what we do, we really value the experience and the knowledge of the whole team.
You need that. And then honestly, too, your children have the advantage of seeing you as an example, of you being a working mom, a single mom, and seeing your drive. And that impacts them when they are now planning their own careers and they can look to you as that mentor, that example.
Right. It's taken my son a little longer to understand that. I think he felt the brunt of it more with 1, not having his dad in the home, but 2, that guilt is huge, right? I can be unhappy and have your dad in the home. I can be myself and do the best I can. But he understands now, and that guilt of not so much what I did work-wise, but that the decision to not be a 2-parent family anymore, the way traditionally it was, that guilt laid on me a long time because he suffered. My son suffered. He wanted his dad around. But I still would do what I did. I love my career. I'm nervous and scared at the same time of being president, right? Because it is a new role for me. But I've fought for a long time to act presidential, be presidential. And that's how I carry myself.
What scares you the most about being president?
Probably just the sales end, I think. The sales end, like enough sales, keep things going and growing. As I'm in charge of sales, that's my biggest stress.
Yeah.
I am responsible for 30 families, basically. The company relies on sales, and I'd want to keep everybody employed and happy and growing and being able to buy new equipment and hire more people and doing that thing. And then in the sales, growing the sales force, growing the sales. That's probably the bigger stressor. I can lead people all day long. I love managing people. I'm crisis management all day long. I love it. I love chaos. But the sales is, my dad says, sales cures all ails.
As long as you have enough money coming in, a lot of things get solved very easily by just throwing money at the problem.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest concern I have. And I wouldn't even say it's like a major concern, because when you lead sales, that's always you're always growing sales.
So you were VP of sales. That was a huge thing for you before this. So in some ways, that hasn't changed, but
Yeah.
there's
Maybe
added pressure there now.
Yeah, maybe it's the tomato. A lot of stress we put on ourselves, right? Yeah, I'm excited though, because I feel like I've been working towards this my whole career, and to have that trust, faith that Excelsus has in me as their leader, and my husband saying, okay, you're ready. And so yeah, I'm excited.
So my favorite question as we wrap up is knowing what you know now. So based on your experience as a teenager, growing up with Flower City, moving over to Excelsus, all the roles that you've played, all the things that you've done in this industry. If you were just going to walk in the door now and just starting out in the industry now, what advice would you give yourself?
Two things come to mind. The first thing I'd say is it's okay to cry.
Are you sure it is?
Yes, I think it is. I think that I've learned, like, I'm an emotional person. If I get really frustrated or really mad, I can get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to cry, but there's a way to do it and a way to handle yourself so that you're still being professional and still be respected. I learned early on, starting to cry and storming out of a room, that's not helpful. That doesn't help me. Gathering myself, grounding my feet, thinking, okay, why are you upset? Getting through this, or simply excusing yourself and walking out and saying, I just need to pull myself together. That's one thing, because I struggled a lot with, don't let them see you cry. Don't let them see you cry. And as women, you're like, but that's how I manifest my stress sometimes.
We're emotional beings, and that sometimes it comes out. Yeah.
And I don't want to lose. I look at it as lose an argument or have somebody back off a respectful dialogue because I'm starting to cry. So it's, oh, don't stop. I want to get through this. But I think that the biggest advice I would give, besides that, which is funny, but it happened to me, is stick with it. Stick with it and trust your North Star. I knew I wanted to sit at that table and what that table meant. And I knew that was going to be my success. That's the level I saw and I wanted. So I stuck with it. I took on more responsibility. I did hard things. I'd go into things nervous, but just grounded. It's okay, you can do this. You can do it. And get through it. So not giving up when it's easy to give up.
Sometimes it's much easier just to say, no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to push. I don't want to push through the uncomfortable.
You want to push through the uncomfortable. You have to get to the other side. And I would like to say to those women, and I may reach out to them now because they're still around, that weren't in leadership roles, but were respected as leaders at Flower City, here at Excelsus, and say, thank you for being you. Thank you for showing me that I can be a mom. I can be a single mom. I can be a woman in this business, whether it's president, billing supervisor, and make a difference. Show other women that, okay, I may not be in a leadership role, but I am just like you. And you can do this. I learned so much from watching those women handle themselves and not be afraid to go nose to nose with a male counterpart because, look, I believe this and this is wrong or this is right, and not backing down. And so those strong women that worked at Flower City, and then I've had the opportunity to work here with Excelsus, those are my mentors, even though they may not know that they were my mentors.
Mm-hmm.
So look for mentors, Carin. Look for mentors, recognize mentors. I would say that.
And know your North Star.
Know
And
your
go
North
for it.
My mom was saying, you should be going to school. You should go to school. I can't believe you're not going to college. You need to go to college. No, like, I want to be here. I feel like this is where I want to be.
College is not for everyone.
No. When I hire someone now and I see they went through college, I'm like, wow, you guys did something hard. Okay. But imagine being 20, getting married, 23, 25, having babies, being a single mom in your early 30s, and staying true to a career that you love and you want to be part of. That's
hard.
what I'm choosing. I could write that on a resume, but the other thing is I didn't let men do things for me. If they see me carry a heavy box, let me get that for you. I'm like, I got it. I got it. I'm strong. I got this. And not from a pride thing, but do I really need them to carry the box because I'm a woman? No.
If it's really heavy, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, of course. Trust me, I have no problem asking for help, but recognizing that when someone's offering to do something because it's like, oh, you're a woman, maybe let me carry that for you. That would be like, no, I got it. Showing your strength, because we are. If you recognize that you want something and you have that passion and that strength and that drive, show your strength. That doesn't mean be I can say it, bitch, but it means show your strength in a respectful way. Have respectful dialogue with somebody or something and say, this is what I think. I try to take the word feeling out of my language because I know men don't think like feeling words as much as women do. Follow your gut. Follow your gut.
Well, I think that's all good advice in general for anybody.
Anybody. Tell my son the same thing. Yeah. So I think with the generation today, watching them struggle, they don't believe that we struggled at their age. Oh, it's harder now, and inflation, and things cost more. And I'm like, listen, I had trouble doing grocery shopping too. And this was 25 years ago. I know. Daycare's expensive. The pressure is a lot. That hasn't changed just because the climate, we're going through hard stuff right now. This is what it is.
It's part of life.
It is part of life. So don't have kids. But I want to have kids. Then this is part of it.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to everything, and you need to know if that's something that you can deal with, if that's something that you can navigate through.
Most of the time, it's just offering the support. How can I help? Someone came into my office this morning, actually, and she just started to share about something's going on in her personal life. And then she got done. And I said, was there something else? And she goes, no, I just needed to get that off my head. And so I gave her that safe space. Had nothing to do with work, but she was able to clear it from her mind, go back to her desk. And I said, if you need that time again, come on in. Right? You need a safe place to say, I'm human. I need a moment.
Yeah, as much as we want to say that we don't bring our personal stuff with us to work, we do.
We do. And there's no such thing as balance.
Yeah.
So I accepted that as well.
Carin, it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate actually seeing you face to face, and I've known your name and we've traded emails and been at the same shows and stuff. So it's nice to see you and have a conversation.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.